Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel, and I'm your host for LG Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We're covering Beyond the Gates. This is week October 6th through the 10th. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can subscribe, and if you want to, and I do encourage you to leave your comments below. Now let's get into these week's episodes. Okay, so I need a round of applause. And you want to say, what for? Well, I need you to applaud me because for 2 weeks, I've been doing reviews consecutively. Lord, it's been trying, but I thank you for anyone that comes and visits. I do not like to be inconsistent because you don't deserve that. And neither does my channel deserve that. Some things just get in the way. And doing weekly reviews can be tough, especially with 5 episodes. And taking notes and trying to enjoy it. It's a lot. But thank you for coming by. And thank you for the applause. First, there's an announcement. If you haven't seen it, went viral during this past week, that actor Greg Vaughn is joining Beyond the Gates. Now, I don't know if you remember when Miss Michelle Valjean, she did announce back in July that they did get a prominent actor on the show. And we were trying to figure out, well, who did they actually cast? Now, we thought that it was going to be a black actor because this is supposed to be a black predominant show. But that's not the case. Greg Vaughn started his career first, I believe, in primetime. He did something on NBC back in the day, like 95-ish. A Malibu Placades, if that's how you say it. It was Malibu something. And that girl with the long blonde curly hair from back in the day, Felicity, that show Felicity, she was on there and some others. I know he did some spots on 90210, Beverly Hills 90210, and then he came over to daytime. He was, I think, a recast on Diego on Young and the Restless. Then he went over to General Hospital and he recasted Lucky. And to me, I feel like he raised the bar of the character Lucky. And unfortunately for you General Hospital fans that love Jonathan Jackson, I think his last 2 stints at coming back and returning as Lucky have been a flop. Greg was fired from General Hospital so that they could get Lucky back, thinking that they were going to have the same nostalgic for Lucky's presence as it was before, but no. Greg did such a great job at transitioning Lucky into this adult that Jonathan Jackson, to me, just could not live up to. So then Days of Our Lives hired him, and he played Eric Brady. He was another recast. I do think that they did him dirty after a while, because it's just like, I think Greg, he ended up being let go. Then another time he left, and then he was promised this great prominent story. Then things behind the scenes that wasn't even about him. Ari Zucker, who played Nicole Walker, she ended up suing the company. So at this point, they put Eric and Nicole together. There really wasn't another place for Eric to be back on the show. So I hate it, and I'm totally for Ari Zucker getting any justice that she needs. She has a full complaint. There's all videos all around in regards to what happened on Days of Our Lives. But yeah, so I'd still feel like, okay, well, he was done dirty. Anyways, he's found a new home on Beyond the Gates, and I'm happy for him. And he's a very attractive man, and people are already trying to group him with Nicole, with Danny, with, did they say anyone else? Who would you like to see Greg Vaughn hooked up with? Who can you see him with? I mean, I'm for another interracial love. I mean, he has played on Queen Sugar, that was on OWN. He played an interracial love interest to one of the main characters. So who would you like it to be? Do you want it to be Nicole? Do you think that Danny should drop Andre? Who do you think? You think maybe Vanessa, or give something for Pamela to actually do besides having this accent and being kind of Danny's lackey? Do you want that? Or do we need to get some more black actors on this show? Y'all let me know in the comments. All right, so I got things written down in so many ways, and I'm just going to tell it like I know how to tell it. It's probably not going to be in sequence of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. Sorry about that. I'm gonna wait a minute before I start talking about these jokers. But let's go on down to Should I go with them? Should I go with them? Let me talk about Vanessa and them. We started out the week and we're having the memorial service for Doug. Nicole gave the eulogy, all that good stuff. It was nice. It was perfect. Vanessa has been feeling like she cannot forgive herself for her part in Doug's death, which she could only talk to with Joey about, which is very weird. But I understand the circumstances. His last conversation with anyone on earth was with his wife while she was vacationing out of town and having sex with Joey. And she can't really tell anyone how she really is. And then we're finding out, to me, I felt like, I'm probably going to be saying this a couple of times, I feel like the show is making stuff up as they go. Despite some of the foundations they've set, I don't see them being consistent. I'll say that we didn't know that Doug had all this drinking problems and stuff like that in the beginning. We knew about the gambling. Nothing was told about that. And now it's like, well, this is the true Doug. He would always be an alcoholic. Well, where did that come from? Like, I really knew the true him. Like, that would help us to understand that it just wasn't, because how it was told, it was just two adults who have now just grown apart, but they don't want to get a divorce for whatever reason. They're just comfortable with their situation. All of a sudden, he gets enthralled into this gambling addiction. We got Joey playing him and her, and now has really seized Doug's wife as his own, basically. It's just like, what? And then Doug basically had to watch his wife be taken away by a person that was only meant harm to him. It's like, and now he's got all these issues. Again, I understand the gambling part, but it was just like, what are we supposed to do with this information? And now we're just supposed to act like Doug was just so insufferable. And that's why, I mean, at least we got motivation as to why she was cheating, but that's why she was cheating. That's why they really drifted apart. And he's not here to defend himself either. So it's just like, okay. Donnell ended up investigating Doug's crash site and went to Jacob about it. Desperate to discern Doug's state of mind before his death, Joey learned that Donnell was at the police station, so he made sure that he doctored up the surveillance video of Doug when he was playing his last game, even though he won, to make it look like Marcel wasn't in there at all. It got back to Marcel that he was erased out of that video, and he's like, no, he doesn't do any of this as a good gesture. And obviously something's going to be coming out down the road. And that's another thing that I'm just so confused. Because the last we knew of before this whole Doug situation, the main thing that was going on with Marcel and Joey was trying to keep this secret about Martin and this hate crime and him. It just, I was like, okay, so Marcel is a good guy after all. But now we're back to this, as him still being a creep, just taking payments and all that. So there's other stuff that Marlon was involved with Joey that was criminal, basically. If it was defined that way from the beginning, cool. It's just like y'all settled there as far as with Martin, and then now we're back to, okay, crooked cop Martin. And then Elon, he gonna say he's the best cop in the world. Like, for me, I don't like the zigzag stuff. And I love the show, y'all. It's just like, what? Please help me. Don't do this to me. I'm trying to be here for y'all, but I can't keep on windmilling, and I don't really understand what's happening. The zag. No, stop it. Joey ends up offering the security footage to Jacob, and they watch it. And it's still unsettling to Donnell. At this point, Vanessa's just like, I can't really take any more right now. Joey also sends Drake, who was the car dealer at the time, sent him there to lie to Donnell that he tried to arrange a ride share for Doug, but Doug wanted to ride on his own, to leave on his own. I'm like, y'all doing way too much. And then Joey, you have the gumption to still want to sleep with this woman after you done did that to her husband like that. Like, you infiltrated their lives. Stole his woman. Oh my gosh, and stole his life. Donnell caught Joey comforting Vanessa and didn't know what to think when she hugged that man. Joey told Donnell the story of his mother's death, because he was trying to make sense of when his mother passed away. Remember back when when Nicole was trying to crack the code with this whole Joey situation, Vanessa was getting enthralled in Joey, and she was trying to find like what's up with him. And she had mentioned about Joey's passing to Ted. He said, well, no, she didn't die like that. Or no, Joey was going to have his mother, he was looking for a place for his mother. And then Ted was like, no, she passed away. And she passed away on the operating table trying to get plastic surgery. So he was telling that story as a way to relate to Donnell. There's just some answers you won't ever understand, especially Joey said, my mother was beautiful. She didn't need all that, but then tragedy struck. Unbeknownst that it was going to actually happen. We weren't forewarned of it. It seemed to appease Donnell. Vanessa admitted to Donnell that she and Joey were friends and that she needed his companionship to help her through the loss of Doug. And now she's going to have to explain eventually that she's sleeping with this dude in a relationship, basically. Good luck, Vanessa. Good luck. Let's get into this Leslie and Eva. Leslie and Eva, but also with Kat and Tomas, whatever you want to call them. So we know that Kat already said that she's going to not let Eva win on last week. Poor decision. Eva complains to Leslie about what Tomas did to her. First, that they slept together, and then Tomas still chooses Kat. And then Leslie was like, you got to get in the ring and fight. And Eva was motivated to go on and do it. She tried using the tactics to try to get Tomas, and Kat is this, Kat don't really like you, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Tomas stood up for Kat. At that point, Kat had came in. And basically, Eva was upset with Kat because you don't really know. I don't understand where this story is going. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Because I think, who was the one that said, okay, well, Eva, you're kind of like, I think it was Leslie, like, you're a lot more like me than you want to admit. Bonding over different things or same things that you like, and da-da-da-da-da. You're a lot like me, blah, 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 blah. Of course, Eva doesn't want to face it, but then she starts doing that because she really wants this dude. Still, I don't understand why she deserves this new dude that's coming into town, which is going to be Jacob's brother at some point. But anyways. So, since Tomas stood up for Kat and Tomas ended up talking. This is after Tomas talked with Chelsea that told everything about what Kat was going through, and how Kat had told Chelsea that he was in love with her, that she was in love with him, and that was one of the points that Eva was trying to bring up. Well, she's not even in love with you. And he says, I'm in love with her. But then when he talked with Kat, Chelsea told me about that, Kat was a little disappointed, but anyways, she said, well, let's stop having other people trying to tell us what we want to tell each other. And they both declared love for another. Then Kat got frisky and wanted to have sex in the closet. And now all of a sudden she got her sexual healing. To me, that's weird. I'm like, okay, all right, Kat, you satisfied all of a sudden. You need to declare love, even though you know that this was a game for you to try to not make Eva win. Kat, even in the moment when she was with Tomas and Eva, didn't even do her usual dance with Eva as far as trying to bring her down. Not at all. She let Eva crash out. Eva ended up berating herself for acting like her mom. I'm just seeing birds, and I don't understand, again, where the writing is going to, because Anita has been saying forever, Dupree women this and Dupree women that. And then y'all want to be such birds? That doesn't line up to what we've been told. And as I said before, the other week, we know months passed on who Kat was supposed to be if a man crossed her. We also got to see, or was it this week? I don't know. But Nicole and Kat, they talk about what's going on and what Tomas did. And Nicole can't bring it to herself that Eva would actually do something to Kat like that. That's crazy. Your own mother ain't even on your side. It is so crazy. And then she's like, well, I don't think Eva would have been really breaking up anything that was happy. And then Kat said, well, I mean, there's been things that are going on. So why does that give her an excuse, whether everything was rocky or everything was peachy in the relationship, for Eva to be able to step in and let's do sleep with another girl, especially the half-sister that you know is her enemy? That's making no sense. And then Kat said, well, if you're trying to tell me to work things out with Tomas, well, at least I can admit that I love Tomas. And what about you? And at this point she said, well, I don't think that you're really qualified to tell me about anything if you're still not going to admit things concerning Dad. Martin, when Martin sensed that Smitty was probably waiting on some type of big gesture because he didn't know how to really break through to Smitty, he said that he would go public about what he did to Kenneth's brother and disfiguring that dude's face. And now Kenneth is gone bye-bye too. And Smitty said absolutely not. And he had to really convince him really hard. You coming forth isn't just going to affect you. It's going to affect a lot of people around. And what about Joey? He's not going to be taken too kindly of you now pulling him into this stuff. So he finally was able to call it off. What he did was he had already set up to speak with Jacob. Smitty was trying to say, oh, so it looks like you were just doing this to try to get a reaction out of me. And then he had to prove that he did set up something with Jacob about coming forward. So anyway, still a ceasefire. They said that there's got to be another way for us to actually get back together. Smitty said, let's go to couples counseling. Meanwhile, let's also go back to dating. And they do. And during that date that they went on at the country club, he ended up, Martin ended up taking responsibility for putting the roadblocks in Smitty's career path. And at that point, Smitty invited Martin to come back home, which is cool. Now, this is after the funeral, and Carlton is at the Dupree home, and Danny and Chelsea are interrogating Carlton to see exactly what is his intentions with Nicole. Nicole, on the other hand, is still trying to acknowledge we're just friends, and he's Ted's colleague and all that stuff. And she doesn't really want to risk loving anyone again. But Danny and Anita separately encourage Nicole to still explore things with Carlton. Carlton could just be your right now. He doesn't have to, he could be your bridge. He doesn't have to be your new forever. I mean, do something. It's weird because Nicole can tell people exactly what needs to be done for other people, but she don't know how to tell herself what to do, or she thinks that she knows what to do because she's a therapist. I love Nicole. Don't take it wrong in my approach and what I'm saying. It's just like, okay, I'll wait on them. I won't talk about that. Not yet. At the funeral, Leslie, she ended up flirting with Joey. Ain't that something? And ended up taking a year-old fruitcake to the Duprees. The junction to try to stop Leslie from working on that new house was denied, and Leslie was able to work things out. Work on her home. After she delivered the fruitcake that they didn't want, she started immediately on construction on her home. Eva is feeling defeated when it comes to Leslie. She had no one in her but her to try to ring her back in as far as how Leslie wants to operate in life. So she went to meet with Jan and Mona for help. Mona refused and said no. After how she used me to try to infiltrate Nicole's life and all that, no. You're backing up your mama just as a child should do or would do. But one day you should really realize and wake up as to who this woman really is. Jan stood behind and was willing to hear Eva out. And then she ended up telling Eva, I'll talk to her. Then Jan had her time with Leslie and ended up saying, look, maybe I can be a friend to you again. And let's just wipe the slate clean. Because she goes into it, her really trying to say, you know, you really are using your daughter, da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da-da. But then 10 seconds later, she was like, well, you know, She wanted to know everything, what it was like to have this inheritance and all this stuff. It's like, well, Jan, did you want to be friends with her, or you just really want to be connected to her to live vicariously through her? And now having a rich friend. Because that seemed kind of weird to me. But, hey. We talked about Vanessa and all that good stuff. What else do we have? Haley is Haleying. So insecure, she thought that Bill was at Danny's house. And she comes into the house, Danny's home, yelling everywhere, "Bill, come out!" And Danny saw very much pleasure in seeing how crazy Haley and insecure that Haley is trying to be right now. And she said, "I told you that this would happen to you. It just came quite soon." Anyways, Haley was like, "Leave my husband alone. You have your own husband." I mean, she had your husband and you wanted to take him for your own. You're crazy. And I'm glad that they are driving her over the edge, because really Haley did get boring to me, and we need something to come up out of her. Not even a year of marriage and you're this insecure because you knew what you did to get him. Both Andre and Danny took repeated questionings and flack about their marriage from different people and their unconventional definition of their relationship, of marriage. Bill tasked a private investigator, Keegan, with digging into Andre's past. Haley caught Bill in a lie when she found out that he wasn't meeting with Caroline as he told her that he was. Danny was amused when a furious Haley came to her house looking for Bill, but noted that she had warned Haley that Bill would do this, that Bill would do this, and would lose interest in her. An unforthcoming Bill implied that he would divorce Haley if she kept being this suspicious with his whereabouts. Trouble in paradise. At the country club, Pamela refused Bill's demand to break up Danny and Andre. Danny found her casual marriage to Andre freeing, but wondered if she was being fair to him. She offered him an out, aware that she might not be able to give him what he really is looking for. I guess we'll get the answer on next week. Thomas ended up coming down on Haley for using him to try to make Bill jealous. Haley lied and said, "All that's over. She and Bill are back on track. I'll never do that again." Was there anything else that was going on? The Hawthorns. The Hawthorns were unsettled by not being on the same page about Naomi's pregnancy. Naomi could only envision the trouble having a child would bring, and Jacob tried to nudge her towards looking at the positives about having a family. Naomi was willing to continue thinking about it. So it looks like she's opening up or cracking a little bit, but you know, lawyers, they're kind of stubborn. But that was it for these episodes. I did not like Tuesday. I don't like how Nicole always defends Eva. Your child is right there. And I'm sure you know your child too. I get that too. But it's just like, can you just be in her corner for once? And all the women now are like, oh, you know, Kat's gonna do what she wanna do. You tell her not to do something, she's gonna do the opposite. Here's my thing. Why does it seem like it's the obligation of all the Duprees to interrogate anyone new that's coming into the fold as far as with the relationship? And then when things go to hell, oh well, you figure it out. Like, it doesn't even make sense. However, Ted basically is outcasted out of the family. He did wrong, but it's not adding up. Like, y'all, it's too contradictory. Because one minute there's strong Duprees, and then we're family, we fight for each other, and then I know that people are going to make their own decisions and what they're going to do. At the same time, it's just like, okay, what's up? Well, why are y'all letting this go on? It just seems like I don't know what path to go on. I don't even know what to expect out of a lot of the characters at this point, because they're doing something totally out of character. Or we're not even given the reasons, well, we're not giving a path as to even how they even got to this conclusion as to what to actually do. It's weird. It's very weird to me, y'all. But y'all let me know. I'm still riding with them. It's just like, what? I just don't know. But y'all let me know your feelings about this week's episodes. I thank you for coming by. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And until next week, peace.